What's going on? So I want to make this video about using the darkness as motivation, using the bad times as good times. I want to preface this video on a lot of people won't understand what I mean by using the bad times as motivation. Now, this is just what I do. What I do in my personal life, the only reason I'm able to go through a bunch of bullshit but it not affect me is because it is affecting me. Just not in the same way I see it affecting others. The bad shit affects me, but not, I don't complain. I don't sit there in my sadness. I sometimes I honestly I do get angry still, but I also use that anger as motivation. I use the bad shit to push me forward, to be a motivator, to grind harder, to work harder. It's like if I wasn't angry, it's like if you get sick and tired of the life you're living. You get angry. You go through bullshit. You got to do this. You got to do that. You hate this. You hate that. You're sick of this. You're sick of that. Most people just give into it. They go get drunk on the weekends to forget about their problems. And on Monday they have to deal with the same bullshit again. And then on Friday they'll get drunk again to forget about their problems. I don't do any of that because I don't need to forget about my problems. If I forget about my problems, I won't be able to push myself hard enough. Where it's like, a lot of people fear getting evicted. I wish the landlord would come and say, hey, you're about to get evicted. Okay, make me work 10 times harder than I would if he didn't say that. Like, I have this twisted sense of fucking motivation. A lot of people would judge it as, dude, that's fucking crazy. And yes, that is fucking crazy. It's absolutely insane. It's insanity, but it's the way shit works for me. It's like, what I'm realizing is life is about ups and downs. I forget who said it, but I was watching this video and somebody was talking about life. He doesn't understand why people think life is going to be like this, where you're going to, you accomplish your dreams, then you're happy as fuck and you're on this plane of just happy existence. What does a heartbeat do? A heartbeat goes up, it goes down. If you looked at the thing, it's dun, 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 up and down, up and down. That is life. That is the representation of life. As long as your heart is beating, life is going to be like that. It's going to be ups and downs, just like your heartbeat. Life is, if you can't learn how to motivate yourself in the downs, then you're only going to be able to do half of the things you want to do, and most likely not even that. And because you're only living half of life. Half of life is happiness. The other half of life is misery. And learning how to balance them in a complete yin and yang to benefit yourself and your friends and your family, that is the key, I feel like, is using the bad times as motivation. We let the bad times consume us. We have to have self-love, self-discipline. We have to know what our self-worth. We have to know thyself. You have to know who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, then that's the first issue. You know what I mean? Because I know who I am. So I know that, I go through some bullshit. I know that that's motivation for me. Most people go through bullshit. It's what stops their motivation. It's what stops them in their tracks. It's the obstacle in their path that prevents them from going any further. And I think that with me, I use those obstacles as motivation. It's just like, it's almost like instead of looking at it like a roadblock, I look at it as a pit stop. Like you're in a race, and then you got to get your pit stop to make sure your wheels are good, make sure your gas is good, make sure this is good, that's good. That's the way I look at it. These things just check me. They put me in check. They put me in reality. I like getting punched in the face with reality. A lot of my experiences in my past, I do things that punch me in the fucking face with reality, because it's like, I think that that's the only way. That's how I learn how to grow. That's how I know to grow. I also know that's not how others grow. That's not how everyone's going to grow. So I don't recommend everyone just be like with me. I prefer people to be bluntly honest with me. If you see I'm fucking up, tell me I'm fucking up ASAP. Because if you know I'm fucking up and I don't know, then I feel like you should tell me, so I know your perspective as well. Because I understand my perspective is not right. There is no such thing as right and wrong. There is only what is. Which is why I think that you can use the bad times as motivation just as much as you can use the good times. But honestly, for me, good times bring me laziness. Bad times bring me a drive and motivation to make a change. If everything was good in my life, I wouldn't want to change. If everything was copacetic and I was fucking great, I wouldn't want to be anything else other than what I am. I wouldn't think I needed to grow. And that's the thing. So many people think they don't need to grow. They think they don't need to change. They think that they are right because they're not looking at anyone else's perspective. I prefer to look at everyone's perspective, but the reason why I started realizing that I use the bad times as motivation, I mean, it's always been like that, but I never really realized it until I looked from somebody else's perspective. And I looked from somebody else's perspective, and they were basically telling me that they weren't necessarily, they didn't say these words that it was bad, but they were getting at what I was doing wasn't good. And looking from their perspective, I got to see that what works for them might not work for me, what works for me might not work for them. And I also got to see that majority of people in a time of pain, sadness, depression, anxiety, their life falling apart, in those times they fold. In those times they shatter. I shatter too, but I do not fold. I refuse to stay on the ground. I get back up. If it's a fucking boxing match, then you ain't gonna count me out to 10. It doesn't work that way. Like, I feel like when somebody knocks me down, that gives me more motivation to get back up and to make sure that doesn't happen again. Too many people don't look at their mistakes, so they think they're right. Then that's why when things go wrong, they don't know how to handle it because they thought they were right the whole time. So how the hell could this go wrong? How could this go wrong? I'm doing the right things. Or how could this go wrong? I have a good job, or I did my job right. Why did I get fired? Or this and this and this happened. There's so much shit that can happen in life. I mean, there are people that pay their bills every single month on time, every single month, but then the landlord sells the house and they still get kicked out of the house. Situations in life happen. Shit happens. It is up to you and your perspective on the way you deal with it. I was watching this other video, and this video was talking about, I forget who said it. It might have been Tom Bilyeu, but I might be wrong. But the video was basically saying that pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. And what that meant is everybody goes through pain, but it is your choice to choose in your mind whether you are suffering from that pain or whether you are growing from that pain. There are, just like in life, when you were growing up, you would get growing pains. And what did those pains represent? You growing. That's all this pain in life is. It is all just growing pain. It is all your perspective. And my perspective is that there is no such thing as bad experiences, no such thing as bad trips, no such thing as bad days, no such thing as any of that. There's just days, there's just experiences. There's no such thing as a bad life or a good life. There is just life, and what you do with it is your choice. Gary Vaynerchuk says, paraphrasing, but Gary Vaynerchuk says if he could give everyone a drug, it would be optimism. And I agree 100%. People need more optimism. People need to be more optimistic in hell. Be more optimistic in hell, because if you're more optimistic in hell, you could turn that hell into heaven. That's the way the world works. It's all in your mind. Thoughts create reality. And it's not just thoughts create reality. You have to literally believe. You have to believe. You can't let anything interfere with your beliefs. And that's when I'm in the bad, when I'm in the hard times, when shit's going wrong in my life, I don't look at it as it's going wrong. That doesn't exist in my mind. I look at it as things are going right. When things are going wrong, that means things are going right, because it is my perspective to choose to think to myself that no, things aren't going wrong. No, I can't. I'm not going to say fuck my life. I'm not going to post on Facebook, oh, I fucking hate my life. I wish this was different, man. I can't pay this. I can't do this. I'm fucking up. Oh, my business is fat. No. I choose to look at all of the things that are going wrong in my life as, first off, it is my fault. There's nobody else to blame but me. And second, It is also my fault if it is affecting my mood. Nobody can affect your mood unless you allow them to. Unless you gave them power over you, then they can't affect you. But that's why I choose not to give anyone power over me. I choose not to give the bad days power over me, the bad times, the shit that I don't want to do in life that I do anyways because I know it'll benefit my future. Like, I choose not to let anything fuck with me because it is up to you. This is your life. We all go through pain. My pain is not worse than your pain, and your pain is not worse than mine. We have it confused. Pain is pain. There are those who get motivated by the pain, and there are those who give up by the pain. That is the only difference. It's not that if somebody keeps moving past their pain, you might think that your pain is worse than theirs, and that's not true. It's that they have a stronger mind than you, and that's real. And I'm not saying people, calling names or doing any of that. I'm being fucking real. Because being real is what people are scared to be nowadays. People are scared to be themselves. So I just speak my truth. And my truth is, if it wasn't for the bad times, I wouldn't be where I'm at. Like, honestly, like, I was going through some shit with my family, like, right when I started my business. The only reason I started my business when I did is because, like, so, for example, when I first started my business, real quick before I go, when I first started my business, I had a choice. Start the business in a month or start the business right when I started it and possibly be $200 short on rent. I took the fucking risk, I started the business anyways, and I made that $200 back before the first. That's fear. That's facing fear, punching fear in the face, and then getting high as fuck from the fear. That's what I do. I like taking risks because it's like a drug. It's almost like when people gamble. You know how like people gamble and it's like they're taking a risk and it's kind of like a rush and shit? That's what I do. That's my fucking life. That's why I don't gamble, for one, because I get addicted to it. But I'm addicted to life. I'm addicted to the fact that life has ups and downs, and I love life when it goes down because when it goes down, I have the ability to climb back up. It is all on me, and I love that rush because if I'm down and then I climb back up, that high that you feel, that feeling that you feel is so fucking euphoric, it's so amazing that nothing can touch it. It's like, I don't know, when somebody says you can't do that and you do it, dude, that feeling is amazing. And that's what I live for. I live for a feeling. I live my life based on my feelings and how I feel. If it makes me feel good, I'll do it. And I know sometimes in life that's not how I work though. Sometimes it's going to make me miserable in the moment, but I know that it'll benefit my future, so I do it anyways. It's like, I don't know. It's all about perspective. Life is all about your perspective. And I choose to get high off of facing my fears. I choose to face my demons and enjoy it. It's also like I used to have an anger problem, and I used to try to get rid of my anger problem. It's like I used to say, no, that humans shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't have that anger problem. You shouldn't be like that. Why? Because everyone else, other people don't have that, or some people do, but they hide it better than you do. Or I started, it's like, no, fuck that. I use my anger as motivation now. I use it as a drive. Sometimes I'm up till 6 in the morning working on what the fuck I need to work on. Do you think I'd be able to do that if I wasn't angry? Do you think I'd be able to do that if I wasn't motivated? If I wasn't angry with the way the world is? If I wasn't angry with the way sometimes my life is? If I wasn't angry, man, this is motivation. We need to get more motivated. We need to get more angry. I feel like you are too compliant. You are too complacent. You are too comfortable in the fucked up life that you have. And if you got pissed off for once and said, fuck this life, I'm sick of this shit, then I guarantee you'd be able to use that anger and frustration and sadness and bad shit and fucked up life that you have as all motivation to get yourself out of it. Because that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.